After more than a year of impeccable work, she is fired without explanation and humiliated. Accused without proof, she finds her belongings outside as if they were worth nothing. But the owner's mother realizes something is wrong and decides to investigate everything. And what seemed like an ordinary dismissal reveals a truth that changes everything. If this beautiful story of overcoming and love interested you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and tell us what city you are watching us from. Continuing, the morning sun streamed through the wide bedroom window, illuminating the dark wood furniture and the old paintings decorating the walls. Marina adjusted the cushions on the armchair, where Donna Alzira usually sat to have her coffee, checking if everything was in the right place just the way the lady liked it. These were simple gestures, but they made all the difference in the routine of that house in the Mangaberas neighborhood, one of the most noble regions of Belo Horizonte. Marina had been working there as a caregiver for a little over a year, and in that time, that role had transformed into something much greater than just a job. She wasn't just someone who kept hours and performed tasks. She was company. She was genuine attention. She was a presence. Donna Alzira, at 76 years old, was in relatively good health for her age, but she needed help with daily activities, someone to be nearby in case any need arose. And Marina was always there, attentive, respectful, and affectionate. The routine started early. Marina would arrive around 7 in the morning, always punctual, and immediately go up to Donna Alzira's room. She helped the lady get dressed, prepared coffee with warm pão de queijo, the Minas Gerais way she appreciated so much, and then accompanied her on her morning walk through the house garden. While Donna Alzira observed the flowers and commented on the weather, Marina listened attentively, asking questions, laughing at the old stories the lady told with such pleasure. It was in these moments that the bond between the two strengthened. Marina didn't feign interest. She truly cared. She liked hearing about Donna Alzira's youth, about the times when the city was smaller and things were different. She liked knowing the family tales, the traditional parties, the recipes passed down from generation to generation. And Donna Alzira, in turn, felt that she finally had someone who saw her as a person, not just as an elderly woman who needed care. On that Thursday morning, while Marina was setting the breakfast table, she heard footsteps coming down the stairs. It was Roberto, Donna Alzira's son, a 42-year-old man, a successful businessman who owned a network of vehicle dealerships spread across several cities in Minas Gerais. He was polite to Marina, greeting her whenever he saw her, but he rarely spoke beyond what was necessary. He was always busy, constantly on the phone solving business problems, leaving early and returning late. "Good morning, Marina," he said, picking up a cup of coffee that was already prepared. "Good morning, Sir Roberto. The pão de queijo is warm. I just took it out of the oven." He thanked her with a nod and sat at the table, quickly flipping through the newspaper while drinking his coffee. Marina noticed he seemed more tense than usual, with that tired expression of someone carrying many worries. But it wasn't her place to ask about it. She always maintained a discreet, respectful posture, knowing exactly what her place was in that house. A few minutes later, another presence appeared in the kitchen. Veronica, Roberto's wife, came down the stairs with firm steps, wearing an expensive athletic set and carrying a water bottle. She was a 38-year-old woman, always impeccable, with perfectly brushed blonde hair, and a posture that conveyed control. She worked as a marketing manager at a large company and made a point of maintaining an image of success and sophistication. Marina greeted her with a polite good morning, but Veronica only responded with a brief nod, without looking directly at her. It wasn't the first time. In recent months, Marina had noticed a change in Veronica's behavior. In the beginning, when Marina started working at the house, the relationship was cordial, though distant, but gradually something had transformed. Veronica's looks became colder, her answers shorter, and Marina felt a tension in the air whenever the two were in the same environment. She tried not to give it importance. After all, everyone had their own way, and Veronica had always been more reserved. Marina focused on what really mattered, which was taking good care of Donna Alzira and doing her job with dedication. But it was impossible not to notice the small observations Veronica made, always disguised as concern or casual comments. "Roberto, did you see that the crystal vase that was in the living room moved?" Veronica asked while pouring juice into a glass. Roberto looked up from the newspaper, clearly not understanding the relevance of the question. Moved? I didn't notice. It was on the right shelf and now it's on the left. I think it's strange, that's all. Marina felt the weight of that statement, even though it hadn't been directed at her. It was a subtle insinuation, almost imperceptible, but it planted a seed of doubt. She knew she had moved the vase a few days earlier, precisely because Donna Alzira had asked her to. The light hit better on the other side, and the lady liked to see the sparkle of the crystal at sunset. But Marina said nothing. She didn't think it was necessary to justify herself for something so simple. Veronica continued, and that old clock in the living room also disappeared for a few days. Then it appeared again, but in another place. It's curious, isn't it? This time Roberto frowned. Veronica, what are you trying to say? Nothing, love, I'm just commenting. It's just that lately I've been noticing some things out of place. Maybe I'm being paranoid, but I think it's important to pay attention. Marina felt her heart tighten. She knew exactly what was happening. Veronica was planting doubts, creating an atmosphere of distrust. And the worst part was that she did it in such a calculated way that it seemed like just an innocent observation. Roberto, for his part, didn't seem to give it much importance, but Marina knew those words weren't spoken for nothing. The morning followed its course. Marina went up to help Donna Alzira get ready, and the two went down to the garden together. The lady loved that time of day, when the sun wasn't strong yet and the air was fresh. They sat on the wooden bench under the jabuticaba tree, and Donna Alzira started talking about a party that would happen the following week, a birthday celebration for an old friend. Marina, you need to help me choose a gift. I've known Dalva for over 50 years, imagine that. I want to give her something special, but I don't know what. Marina smiled. You know her better than anyone. What does she like? Dalva was always passionate about music. She played the piano when we were young. Maybe something related to that. How about an old music box? Or a book about classical composers? Donna Alzira reflected for a moment, then smiled. You have a way of thinking that calms me, Marina. You always know what to say. It was true. Marina had this natural ability to make Donna Alzira feel understood and valued, and that was precisely what bothered Veronica. Roberto's wife noticed that his mother had a connection with Marina that she herself had never been able to establish. Veronica tried every now and then to get closer to Donna Alzira, but the conversations were always formal, distant. There wasn't that spontaneity, that genuine affection that existed between the lady and the caregiver. During lunch, Veronica made a point of being present. She sat at the table along with Donna Alzira, Roberto and Marina, who also had lunch at the house, as agreed from the beginning. The meal was served, and Donna Alzira praised the seasoning of the chicken, made by Geralda, the cook who had worked there for years. It's delicious, Geralda. You outdid yourself today, Donna Alzira said, smiling. Veronica took the opportunity. Mother, I was thinking that we could hire a nutritionist to monitor your meals. It would be good to have a more balanced menu, something more modern. Donna Alzira made an expression of disapproval. Veronica, dear, I am 76 years old, and I have always eaten well. I'm not going to change now. But that is exactly why we need special care. Marina, don't you think it would be important? Marina was caught by surprise. She didn't want to get involved in an argument between Veronica and Donna Alzira, but she also couldn't ignore the direct question. She answered carefully. I think Donna Alzira knows what is best for her. She has always eaten well and her health is up to date. Veronica forced a smile, but Marina noticed the annoyance in her eyes. Of course, I was just suggesting. The rest of lunch passed in uncomfortable silence. Roberto ate distractedly, checking messages on his cell phone, oblivious to the tension hanging in the air. Donna Alzira, for her part, exchanged a discreet look with Marina, as if to say she perfectly understood what was happening. In the afternoon, while Marina was helping Donna Alzira organize some old photographs in an album, the lady decided to touch on the subject. Marina, don't mind those things, Veronica says. She has her way, but deep down she is insecure. Marina hesitated, but decided to be sincere. I just do my job, Donna Alzira. I don't want to cause problems. You don't cause any problems, my child, on the contrary. You brought life to this house. It's been a long time since I felt this good, this accompanied. And that bothers some people, do you understand? Marina understood perfectly, but she preferred not to go deeper into the subject. She thanked her with a smile and continued organizing the photos, listening to the stories Donna Alzira told about each one of them. They were memories of a lifetime, records of happy moments, of people who were no longer present. And Marina listened to everything with attention, keeping every word, every shared memory. When the day came to an end and Marina prepared to leave, Donna Alzira held her hand affectionately. "Thank you for everything, Marina. You have no idea how much your presence makes a difference." Marina felt her heart warm. It was for these moments that she did what she did. It wasn't just a job, it was care, it was affection, it was true human connection. "See you tomorrow, Donna Alzira. Rest well." She went out the front door, crossed the garden and walked to the bus stop on the avenue. While waiting for the transport that would take her back to her neighborhood, Marina looked back and saw the imposing house, illuminated by the night lights that were beginning to fall over Belo Horizonte. She didn't know it, but that would be one of the last moments of tranquility before everything changed. Because inside that house, Veronica had already made a decision, and nothing would ever be the same again. Friday began like any other day. Marina got off the bus on the avenue and walked along the tree-lined sidewalk toward the Almeida house, as she always did. The sky was clear. The fresh morning air brought that characteristic smell of Belo Horizonte, a mixture of eucalyptus from the trees and the humidity that still hung over the city. She carried her bag with her belongings for the day, a light jacket in case the afternoon cooled down, and thought about what special things she would prepare for Donna Alzira that morning. But as she approached the gate, something was different. A strange sensation took hold of her, as if the air had changed temperature. Marina rang the bell and waited. Normally, Geralda or Donna Alzira herself would answer through the intercom, but this time it was Roberto who answered with a dry and direct voice. "Marina, wait there, I'm coming down." She frowned, finding the tone strange. Roberto was rarely home at that hour. He usually had already left for work before 7:30. While she waited, Marina looked around, trying to identify what was different, but nothing seemed out of place. The garden was impeccable, the living room curtains closed as usual, everything normal. But her heart was beating fast, as if she sensed something. The front door opened, and Roberto appeared on the stone path that led to the gate. He was wearing a dress shirt without a tie and tailored pants, but his face was set, with an expression Marina had never seen before. Cold, distant, almost hostile. "Good morning, Sir Roberto," Marina said, trying to sound natural. He didn't respond to the greeting. He just opened the gate and gestured for her to enter. Marina passed him confused, and that was when she saw it. There, next to the entrance door, on the hall floor, were two cardboard boxes. Boxes she recognized immediately. They were her things, her personal belongings that she kept in a closet inside the house. Her spare uniform, a pair of comfortable shoes, a book she was reading during breaks, a mug that Donna Alzira had given her as a Christmas present. Everything was there, packed up, as if she were no longer part of that routine. Marina felt the ground slip from beneath her feet. "What is happening?" she asked, her voice trembling but firm. Roberto crossed his arms, avoiding looking directly at her. "Marina, unfortunately, it won't be possible to continue with your services here." The words fell like a heavy stone. Marina stood still, processing what she had just heard. "What do you mean? Why?" "Some irregularities have arisen. Things that aren't adding up. We thought it best to end the contract now." "Irregularities? What irregularities?" "Sir Roberto, I've worked here for over a year. I've always done everything right. I've always taken care of Donna Alzira with all my heart. You know that." Roberto looked away, clearly uncomfortable. "Look, I'm not going to go into details. The decision has already been made. I will pay what is pending, but I need you to leave." Marina felt humiliation burn in her chest, but she refused to let tears fall. She took a deep breath, trying to maintain her composure. "I have a right to know what I did wrong. You can't just send me away without an explanation." That was when another voice entered the conversation. Veronica came down the stairs, wearing an elegant work suit, her hair tied in a perfect bun. She looked at Marina with that calculated, almost complacent expression. "Marina, I understand this is difficult, but these things happen. Sometimes trust is broken and there is no going back." "What trust?" Marina asked, now allowing her indignation to show. I never did anything to break anyone's trust in this house. Veronica sighed, as if dealing with a stubborn child. Valuable objects began to disappear, small things which you perhaps thought no one would notice. But we noticed. Marina felt her blood run cold. Valuable objects? I never took anything that wasn't mine. This is a very serious accusation, and you know it's not true, she said, looking directly at Roberto. He seemed to hesitate for a moment, but Veronica continued. We found some things among your belongings. We aren't going to make a scandal, but we thought it best to end it like this, without complications. What things? Show me, Marina demanded, her voice now firm and loud. It's not necessary. We have already collected everything. The important thing is that this ends here. Marina looked at Roberto, waiting for him to say something, to defend the truth, to recognize that this was absurd. But he just remained in silence, avoiding her gaze. And it was at that moment that Marina understood. He had believed Veronica. He believed her without questioning, without investigating, without giving her the benefit of the doubt. The pain of injustice was almost physical. Marina felt as if she had been punched in the stomach. She had worked there with dedication, with respect, with genuine love for Donna Alzira. And now she was being treated like a criminal, expelled without even a chance to properly defend herself. Fine, Marina said, her voice controlled but heavy with emotion. I will leave. But I want you to know that this is an injustice. I never took anything from anyone. And one day, the truth will come out. She leaned down to pick up the boxes, but before she could lift them, she heard a voice she knew well. A firm voice, despite the age, coming from the top of the stairs. What is happening here? Everyone turned. Donna Alzira was descending the steps slowly, holding onto the handrail, her face marked by confusion and concern. She looked at the boxes, then at Marina, then at Roberto. Mother, go back to your room. This is not your business, Roberto said, trying to sound firm but his voice failing. How is it not my business? Marina works with me, takes care of me. What is happening? Marina is leaving, Mother. A problem arose and we thought it best to end the contract. Donna Alzira descended a few more steps, now with her eyes fixed on her son. What problem? Speak clearly. Roberto exchanged a quick look with Veronica, who remained silent, observing the scene. Mother, I'm not going to discuss this now. Please, trust me. Trust you? Donna Alzira said, her voice rising in tone. Roberto, I live in this house. Marina takes care of me every day. If there is a problem, I have the right to know. There were irregularities, Donna Alzira, things that disappeared, Veronica intervened, trying to sound reasonable. Donna Alzira turned to her, her gaze penetrating. What things? Valuable objects. We prefer not to go into details. The lady descended the last step and walked until she was face to face with her son. Roberto, look at me. Do you really believe that Marina would steal anything from this house? Roberto hesitated. Doubt was written all over his face. Mother, I trust my wife. If she says there is proof— What proof? Donna Alzira interrupted. Show me this proof now. Veronica tried to stay calm. Donna Alzira, with all due respect, this is between Roberto and the employee. You don't need to get involved. Employee, Donna Alzira repeated, her voice trembling with indignation. Marina is not just an employee to me. She is the one who accompanies me every day, who listens to my stories, who treats me with affection and respect. And now you are sending her away with vague accusations? No, I do not accept this. Not. Marina, who had remained silent until then, felt her eyes well up. It was the first time someone had defended her that way, that someone stood up for her. But at the same time, she didn't want Donna Alzira to exhaust herself on her account. Donna Alzira, it's okay, I'm leaving now, Marina said, her voice low. No, the lady answered firmly. You are not going anywhere until I properly understand what is happening here. Roberto, Veronica, you are going to explain to me exactly what is going on, and I want to see this so-called proof you have. The atmosphere in the room became even more tense. Roberto ran his hand through his hair, visibly frustrated. Veronica, for her part, maintained a serene expression, but Marina noticed a flash of irritation in her eyes. Mother, this is becoming unnecessarily dramatic, Veronica said. Dramatic, Donna Alzira repeated. Expelling someone from their own house with accusations without proof is dramatic. Demanding clarification is just. Roberto took a deep breath. Mother, some objects that were in the house were found among Marina's belongings. We don't want to make a scandal, but we can't ignore this. Donna Alzira looked directly at Marina. Is it true? Marina met the lady's eyes and answered with all the honesty she had. No, Donna Alzira. I swear by my mother, by the memory of my father, that I never took anything that wasn't mine. I don't know what they are talking about. Donna Alzira nodded, as if she already knew the answer even before asking. Then I believe her, and you are going to show me this proof now. Veronica and Roberto exchanged looks. The situation had taken a turn that neither of them expected. Donna Alzira was not simply accepting the decision, she was questioning, demanding transparency. And now, they would have to sustain the accusation they had made. Marina remained there, standing with the boxes at her feet, her heart racing but her posture firm. Because even in the face of injustice, she would not bow down, she would not lower her head. And with Donna Alzira by her side, for the first time since everything began, she felt that perhaps the truth had a chance to come to light. The silence that settled in the room was dense, heavy like a storm cloud about to break. Marina remained standing, her eyes fixed on Roberto and Veronica, while Donna Alzira waited for an answer. The morning light entered through the high windows, illuminating the expensive furniture. The paintings on the walls, all that elegance that seemed to contrast with the suffocating tension that took over the environment. Roberto was the first to break the silence. Mother, I understand your concern, but I have already made my decision. I'm not going back on it. Donna Alzira was not shaken. I'm not asking you to go back on it. I'm asking you to show me the proof that justifies this decision. It's the least you can do. Veronica stepped forward, trying to take control of the situation. Donna Alzira, I understand that you have affection for Marina, but sometimes people are not what they seem. We trusted her. We gave her an opportunity, and she abused that trust. Marina felt anger rise in her throat, but she took a deep breath before responding. I never abused anything. I worked here with honesty, always respecting all of you. If there is something that disappeared, it wasn't me who took it. And if they found something among my things, someone put it there without me knowing. The accusation was made. Marina had said out loud what Donna Alzira already suspected. Someone had framed her. And the way Veronica reacted, stiffening her posture and crossing her arms, only reinforced that impression. That is a serious accusation, Marina, Veronica said, her voice cold. Just as serious as accusing me of theft without proof, Marina responded firmly. Roberto ran his hand over his face, visibly uncomfortable. Look, this is getting out of control. Marina, I will pay everything that is owed, including an indemnity, but I need you to leave. Donna Alzira struck her cane on the floor, making a dry sound that echoed through the room. Roberto Henrique Almeida, you are going to listen to me now. Marina does not leave here until I am sure this whole story is clear. You know me. You know I don't accept injustice under my roof. Roberto looked at his mother, and Marina saw something change in his face. It was respect mixed with fear. Donna Alzira was not an easy woman to contradict. She had a silent strength, built over decades of life, of challenges faced, of battles won. And at that moment she was using all that strength to defend Marina. Veronica, show me exactly what was found, Donna Alzira demanded. Veronica hesitated. Donna Alzira, I didn't keep the objects. I already returned them to their place. Then how is Marina going to defend herself if there is no proof at all? The lady questioned, raising her eyebrows. The question hung in the air. Veronica opened her mouth to answer, but the words didn't come. Roberto noticed the fragility of the situation. Veronica, did you photograph it? Do you have any record? I didn't think it was necessary. It was too obvious. Donna Alzira let out a humorless laugh. Obvious? You fire an employee for theft and you don't have a single documented proof. Roberto, are you seeing this? Mother, Veronica wouldn't lie about something like this. I'm not saying she lied. I'm saying she might have been mistaken, or that someone might have manipulated the situation to look like what it wasn't. Roberto frowned. What do you mean by that? Donna Alzira looked directly at Veronica. I mean that in recent months I have noticed a strange atmosphere in this house. Small comments, looks, insinuations, and everything always involving Marina. Veronica maintained her composure, but Marina saw the tension in her shoulders. Donna Alzira, if you are insinuating that I made this up, you are mistaken. I was only protecting this family. Protecting from what? Marina asked, her voice firm. I took care of Donna Alzira. I did my job. I didn't meddle in anyone's life. What did I do that needed protection? Veronica looked at her, and for a brief moment Marina saw something different in that gaze. It wasn't anger. It was fear. Fear of being exposed, of losing control, of having her version questioned. Donna Alzira continued. Marina, tell me one thing. Have you moved objects in the house recently? Marina thought for a moment. Yes, Donna Alzira. You asked me to switch the crystal vase to the other side, remember? You said the light hit better on the other side. And the old clock in the living room? The one that had the stuck hand. You asked me to take it to be repaired. It was at the watchmaker's for 3 days, then I brought it back and put it on the top shelf as you asked. Donna Alzira nodded, every piece of the puzzle fitting together. Veronica, these were the objects you mentioned at breakfast, weren't they? Veronica opened her mouth, but Roberto interrupted her. What story is this, Veronica? You said things were disappearing. They were out of place, love. I didn't know it had been at your mother's request. But you insinuated it was suspicious. You planted the idea that something wrong was happening, Roberto said, his voice beginning to change tone. Marina saw the opportunity and decided to speak. So, Roberto, I never hid anything. Everything I did in the house was at Donna Alzira's request or with her knowledge. If something really disappeared, I don't know anything about it. But it seems strange to me that exactly now, after more than a year working here without any problem, suddenly these accusations appear. Donna Alzira completed the reasoning. And it seems even stranger to me that there isn't a single concrete proof. No photo, no object kept, no witness besides the accuser herself. Roberto began to walk back and forth, his hand on his forehead clearly in conflict. Veronica, are you absolutely sure of what you saw? I am, she answered, but her voice came out less firm than before. Then tell me exactly what it was and where it was. Veronica hesitated. It was a gold bracelet. It was inside a shoebox in her closet. Marina felt her heart race. What bracelet? I don't have any gold bracelet. So, Roberto, you can search my things right now. You can go to my house. You can look wherever you want. You won't find any bracelet. Donna Alzira approached Veronica. And where is this bracelet now? I returned it to the jewelry box. Which bracelet exactly? Veronica began to stutter. The gold one, with details. Donna Alzira crossed her arms. Veronica, I have 4 gold bracelets with details. Can you be more specific? The silence that followed was devastating. Veronica realized she had fallen into a trap. If she were too specific, she could be easily debunked. If she were too vague, the story would lose credibility. I don't remember exactly which one it was, Veronica admitted. Roberto stopped walking and looked at his wife. How do you not remember? If you saw the bracelet among Marina's things, how do you not remember which one it was? I was nervous, love. I was shocked by the discovery. Donna Alzira shook her head, disappointed. Roberto, this isn't making any sense, and you know it. Marina felt a mixture of relief and sadness. Relief because the truth was beginning to appear. Sadness because it had to reach this point for someone to question Veronica's version. And even so, she knew the situation was far from resolved. There was something bigger behind that frame-up, something that had not yet been revealed. Roberto turned to Marina. Do you swear you didn't take anything from this house? I swear by my life, Seu Roberto. I would never do that. Not to Donna Alzira, not to anyone. My mother raised me with values. She taught me that honesty is the only thing no one can take from us. I would never put my character at risk for an object, no matter how valuable it was. The sincerity in Marina's voice was impossible to ignore. Roberto looked at Veronica, then at his mother, then back at Marina. He was being forced to choose between his wife's word and what his own conscience was beginning to show him. Veronica realized she was losing ground. Roberto, are you going to believe her instead of me? Your wife? It's not a matter of believing or not, Veronica. It's a matter of having proof. And so far I haven't seen any proof. So you think I invented this? Why would I do such a thing? The question hung in the air, and Donna Alzira decided to answer it. Because you are jealous, Veronica. Jealous of the relationship Marina has with me. I see how you look when we are talking, when we are laughing together. You feel left out. Veronica turned pale. That is absurd. It's the truth, Donna Alzira said without hesitating. You were never able to have with me what Marina has, and it's not her fault, nor mine. It's just that some connections are natural. They cannot be forced. The words hit Veronica like a slap. She opened her mouth to retort, but nothing came out. Because deep down she knew Donna Alzira was right, and Roberto knew it too. Marina, for her part, remained in silence. She didn't need to say anything else. The truth was revealing itself on its own, layer by layer, but she knew that wasn't the end yet. There was more to come. There always was. And while the sun continued to rise outside, illuminating the city of Belo Horizonte, that was awakening to another day, inside that house, a storm was only beginning to form. The room had transformed into an improvised courtroom. Marina remained standing, her back straight, her head held high, even with the weight of injustice still present. Donna Alzira, now sitting in her favorite armchair, observed everything with that penetrating gaze that seemed to see beyond words. Roberto walked back and forth, while Veronica tried to maintain her composure, but small cracks were beginning to appear in her facade of control. Roberto finally stopped and looked directly at his wife. Veronica, I need you to be completely honest with me now. Are you absolutely sure you saw this bracelet among Marina's things? Veronica took a deep breath, and Marina noticed the calculated pause before the response. I'm sure of what I saw, Roberto. I wouldn't invent such a thing. But you can't say which bracelet it was, Donna Alzira interrupted, her voice calm but firm. You didn't keep the proof, you didn't photograph it, and now you can't describe it with precision. Doesn't that seem strange to you, Roberto? He ran his hand through his hair, visibly disturbed. It does, Mother. It seems very strange. Donna Alzira stood up from the armchair carefully, leaning on her cane. I'm going to show you something. Follow me. Everyone followed the lady to the second floor, going up the stairs in silence. Marina felt her heart racing, not knowing what Donna Alzira intended to do, but trusting her completely. They entered the master bedroom, spacious and elegant, with an old double bed and mahogany furniture that told stories of past generations. Donna Alzira walked to the vanity and opened the jewelry box, a piece crafted in carved wood. From inside she took out 4 gold bracelets, all with different details, and placed them on the mirrored surface. Here are all my gold bracelets. Veronica, which one of them did you find among Marina's things? Veronica looked at the bracelets, and Marina saw panic settle in her eyes for a fraction of a second. I'm not sure. I was nervous when I saw it. But you returned it here, didn't you? How did you return it if you don't know which one it was? The silence that followed was devastating. Veronica tried to answer, but the words were jumbled. I just put it back in the box. Donna Alzira picked up each bracelet one by one, examining them carefully. This one here, she said, lifting a delicate bracelet with charms, belonged to my mother. I know exactly how many charms it has. I know every detail. This other one, she continued, picking up a thicker bracelet with engravings, was a gift from my late husband on our 20th wedding anniversary. And these 2 here are more recent, but I also know exactly what they look like. She looked at Veronica. If any of them had gone missing, I would have noticed immediately, because I wear them, I see them, I know them. So tell me, Veronica, which one of them was with Marina? Veronica swallowed hard. Donna Alzira, I might have been confused about which one it was. The important thing is that I saw a bracelet where it shouldn't be. Or perhaps you placed a bracelet where it shouldn't be, Donna Alzira said, the words falling like stones. Roberto stood paralyzed. Mother, what are you saying? I'm saying that your wife may have framed Marina. She planted evidence, created situations, and waited for the right moment to accuse her. Marina felt a shiver run down her spine. It was exactly what she had thought, but hearing Donna Alzira say it out loud made it all more real, more frightening. Veronica took a step back, her voice coming out loud and indignant. This is an absurdity. Roberto, are you going to let your mother accuse me like this? Roberto looked at his wife, then at his mother, completely lost. I don't know who to believe anymore. Donna Alzira walked to the closet and opened the doors, revealing organized shelves with clothes and boxes. I'm going to show you one more thing, Roberto. In recent months, I began to notice small changes in the house. Things I thought were my memory failing, that it was a thing of age, but it wasn't. She pointed to a wooden box on the top shelf. That box was always on this shelf. Inside it, I keep old letters, photographs, family documents. 3 weeks ago, I noticed it had been meddled with. The letters were out of order, the photos in different positions. I said nothing because I thought it was my own carelessness when putting it away. Marina approached, curious. I never touched that box, Donna Alzira. I know, my child, because you always ask me for permission before touching anything of mine. But someone touched it, someone who wanted to find something. Find what? Roberto asked. Donna Alzira took the box and placed it on the bed. She opened it slowly and began to take out the letters one by one. They were old correspondences with delicate handwriting, faded stamps, marks of time. She searched for a few seconds until she found what she was looking for. A yellowed envelope with the address written by hand. She held the envelope carefully, as if it were something precious. Roberto, do you know who lived at this address? He looked but shook his head. I have no idea. Donna Alzira turned to Marina. But you know, don't you, my child? Marina felt the world stop. She looked at the address written on the envelope and recognized it immediately. It was the street where she had grown up, where her mother still lived. But how would Donna Alzira know that? It's the street where my mother lives, Marina said, her voice low and confused. Donna Alzira nodded, her eyes shining with contained emotion. Your mother's name is Lucia, isn't it? Marina felt her legs weaken. How do you know? Because I met your mother many years ago, Marina, long before you were born. The silence that settled in the room was absolute. Roberto looked at his mother without understanding anything. Veronica, for her part, was pale, realizing that something much bigger was about to be revealed. Marina couldn't process what she was hearing. My mother never mentioned... She didn't know you were working here, Donna Alzira interrupted. I only found out a few weeks ago when I saw a photo in your wallet. You had left it open on the table when you went to get something in the kitchen. I saw the photo. I saw her face. Then I began to put the pieces together. The last name, the street where you said you lived, the details you mentioned about your family. Marina felt her eyes fill with tears. But how did you meet? Donna Alzira sat on the edge of the bed, still holding the envelope. It was over 30 years ago. I was going through a very difficult time in my life. My husband had passed away suddenly. I had a small child to raise, and the family business was in crisis. I was alone, scared, not knowing what to do, not knowing what... She paused, emotion showing in her voice. That was when I met your mother. She worked in a laundry in the neighborhood where I lived before we moved here. We were practically neighbors. One day I went into the laundry to pick up some clothes, and I ended up venting to her. I cried right there at the counter without even knowing her well. Marina heard every word, as if she were hearing a story from another life. Your mother welcomed me, Donna Alzira continued. She took me to her house, made coffee, listened to me for hours, and it wasn't just that day. She became my friend, my confidant. She helped me in ways that even money couldn't pay. She gave me strength when I had none left. She made me believe I could overcome everything. Tears began to stream down Marina's face. She had never heard this story. Her mother had never mentioned it. And then? Marina asked, her voice choked. Then life went on. I managed to rebuild the business, I moved to this house, and we ended up losing contact. I tried to find her a few times, but she had moved. I lost track. And with time, life became busy, and that friendship remained only in memory. Donna Alzira looked into Marina's eyes. When I discovered who you were, I was shocked. The daughter of the woman who saved me was here, taking care of me, without either of us knowing. It's as if destiny had corrected a debt I could never pay. Roberto was open-mouthed. Mother, why didn't you tell this before? Because I wanted to be sure, and because I wanted to find the right moment. But now, seeing what is happening, I realized I couldn't wait any longer. Veronica, who had remained silent until then, finally spoke. And what does that change? The issue of the bracelet remains. Donna Alzira stood up, facing her daughter-in-law. "It changes everything, Veronica, because now I understand why you did what you did. You discovered this connection before me. You meddled in my things, read my letters, found out about Lucia. And when you realized who Marina was, you felt you were losing space not only in my life but in the history of our family." Veronica tried to retort, but Donna Alzira didn't let her. "You were afraid that I would leave something to Marina, that she would occupy a place you thought was yours, so you decided to eliminate her before that happened." The truth was exposed, raw and painful. Roberto looked at Veronica, waiting for her to deny it, to explain, to say anything that made sense. But she just stood there, in silence, defeated. And Marina, even with tears still flowing, felt a strength rise within her, because now she understood. She understood the reason for everything. And she understood that that injustice was not just about a job, it was about belonging, about legacy, about the choices we make when fear takes over. The storm was about to reach its peak, and no one would come out unscathed. The air in the room seemed to have become unbreathable. Veronica was cornered, not only by the accusations, but by the truth Donna Alzira had just exposed. Marina felt her heart racing, still processing the revelation about her mother and the connection that existed between the two families. Roberto, for his part, looked at his wife with an expression that mixed disappointment, anger, and deep sadness. "Veronica," Roberto said, his voice low but loaded with emotion, "tell me this isn't true. Tell me you didn't do what my mother is saying." Veronica opened her mouth, but no sound came out. She looked at Donna Alzira, then at Marina, and finally back at Roberto. And in that silence, the truth became clear to everyone. "Are you really did this?" Roberto said, not as a question but as a painful observation. "You framed Marina. You meddled in my mother's things, found out about the past, and decided to get rid of her before... Before what, Veronica? What were you so afraid of?" Veronica took a deep breath, and when she finally spoke, her voice came out trembling and defensive. "I was afraid of losing what is mine. This family, this house, all of this. I built a life here, Roberto. And suddenly a stranger appears who wins over your mother, who occupies a space that should be mine, who takes care of her like you never cared." Donna Alzira interrupted, her voice firm. "Veronica, you were never truly interested in me. You were always polite, you were always cordial, but there was never genuine affection. And that's fine. You can't force that kind of connection. But you couldn't accept that someone else could have with me what you couldn't." Veronica felt tears begin to fall. "I tried, Donna Alzira. I tried to get closer, tried to talk, tried to do things the way you liked. But it was always the same thing. You always preferred to be with her, always had more patience, more smiles, more stories to tell." Marina felt a pang of compassion, even in the face of everything that had happened, because deep down she understood. She understood what it was to want to be accepted, to want to belong, to want to be loved. But there was a huge difference between desiring that and destroying someone to achieve it. Roberto approached Veronica. "And because of that you destroyed an innocent person's life? You invented a story, planted evidence, manipulated me into believing you." Veronica looked at him, her eyes red. "I didn't invent everything, Roberto. I just exaggerated some things, made it look worse than it was." "Made it look worse? You accused Marina of theft, you tarnished her reputation, tried to take her job, her dignity." Roberto's voice was louder now, anger overflowing. Marina had never seen him like this, always so controlled, always so measured. But now, in the face of betrayal, he was letting his emotions show. Donna Alzira sat down again on the edge of the bed, as if the weight of everything was finally hitting her too. "Veronica, I need to know. Did you really place a bracelet among Marina's things?" Veronica hesitated, but then nodded, defeated. "I did, but then I took it out before anyone saw. I just wanted to create doubt, make you pay attention, see that something was wrong." "But nothing was wrong," Roberto exploded. "Nothing was wrong until you created this whole circus." He ran his hands over his face, trying to calm down. "How long, Veronica? How long did you plan this?" Veronica wiped her tears with the back of her hand. "A few weeks, since I discovered the connection between Donna Alzira and Marina's mother. I read the letters, saw the old photos, put the pieces together, and I realized that if Donna Alzira knew who Marina was, she would become even more important. Maybe even get things that should be mine, that should be for our family. Our family, Donna Alzira repeated, her voice tired. Veronica, you never saw me as family. You saw me as an obligation, someone who had to be tolerated because you were married to my son. And now I discover that you saw Marina as a threat to your future, to the inheritance, to your place in this house. Veronica didn't deny it. She just stood there in silence, her mask finally fallen. Marina, who had remained quiet during the entire confrontation, finally decided to speak. Donna Veronica, I never wanted anything other than to do my job. I never thought about inheritance, about taking anyone's place. I just wanted to take care of Donna Alzira, earn my living honestly, and go home at the end of the day knowing I had made a difference in someone's life. That was all. The sincerity in Marina's voice was undeniable. Veronica looked at her, and for the first time she seemed to really see her. Not as a threat, not as an intruder, but as a person. A person she had tried to destroy out of fear, insecurity, and ambition. I'm sorry, Veronica said, her voice almost a whisper. I shouldn't have done that. Marina nodded, but she didn't say she accepted the apology. Because there were things that words didn't fix. There were marks that remained, regardless of regret. Roberto moved away from Veronica, creating a physical distance that reflected the emotional abyss that now existed between them. You understand that this changes everything, don't you? I can't trust you anymore. I can't look at you the same way anymore. Veronica felt the weight of those words. Roberto, please, we can talk, There is nothing to talk about now, Veronica. You lied, manipulated, and tried to destroy an innocent person. And you did it coldly, calculatedly. I don't know who you are anymore. The silence that followed was devastating. Marina saw the tears streaming down Veronica's face, saw the despair settle in, but she also saw that there was no turning back. Some choices had irreversible consequences. Donna Alzira stood up, walking to Roberto. Son, I know this is painful, but you need to decide what to do now, for yourself, for me, for all of us. Roberto nodded, his eyes still fixed on Veronica. I want you to leave this house today. You can pack your things, but I want you gone. Veronica turned pale. Roberto, where am I going to stay? It's not my problem anymore, Veronica. You created this situation. Now you need to deal with the consequences. She tried to approach, but he took a step back. And Marina? Veronica asked, her voice bitter. Roberto looked at Marina, then at his mother. That is her decision, but if she wants to come back to work here, she will have my full support, and a formal apology for everything that happened. Marina felt a mixture of emotions. Part of her wanted to accept, wanted to return to the routine she loved, to the companionship with Donna Alzira. But another part, the part that had been humiliated, unjustly accused, and questioned in her integrity, that part wasn't sure if she could simply return as if nothing had happened. I need to think, Marina said, her voice calm but firm. I need to process all of this. I need to talk to my mother, understand this whole story that was never told to me. And I need to decide if I can come back to this place after everything that happened. Donna Alzira walked to her and held her hands. I understand, my child, and I respect your decision, whatever it may be. But I want you to know that my door will always be open for you. Always. Marina squeezed the lady's hands, feeling the genuine connection that existed between them. Thank you, Donna Alzira, for everything, for defending me, for believing in me, for showing me this part of my family's history that I didn't know. Roberto approached Marina, his eyes low, carrying the weight of guilt. Marina, I am so sorry, truly. I should have investigated better. I should have questioned. I should have trusted you. I failed as an employer, as a person, and I will carry that with me. Marina looked at him and saw sincerity there. She saw a man who had been manipulated by someone he trusted, but who was now willing to take his part in the injustice committed. We all make mistakes, said Roberto. The important thing is what we do after we realize them. She picked up the boxes with her belongings, which were still in the hall downstairs, and prepared to leave. Veronica remained in the room, destroyed, while Roberto and Donna Alzira accompanied Marina to the door. Before leaving, Marina turned one last time. I'm going to talk to my mother. I'm going to understand this story properly, and then I'll come back with an answer." Donna Alzira nodded, her eyes shining with contained tears. "I'll be waiting, my child." Marina crossed the garden, passed through the gate, and walked along the sidewalk toward the bus stop. The sun was already high. Belo Horizonte was buzzing with its characteristic movement, the surrounding mountains embracing the city as they always did. And Marina, even carrying the weight of everything that had happened, felt something different inside her. It wasn't just relief that the truth had come to light. It wasn't just anger at the injustice suffered. It was something deeper. It was the recognition that her integrity had been tested, and she had come out with her head held high. It was the awareness that, even in the face of manipulation and lies, the truth always found its way. And while waiting for the bus that would take her home, to her mother's arms, to the answers she needed to hear, Marina knew that whatever her decision was from then on, she would make it with dignity. Because dignity was the only thing no one could take from her. Not even when they tried. Marina got off the bus in Villa Operaria, the neighborhood where she had grown up, where every corner held a memory, every sidewalk told a story. The simple houses, painted in bright colors, formed a contrast with the elegance of Mangaberas. But here was her true home. Here was where she felt complete, where she didn't need to prove anything to anyone. She walked along the narrow street, carrying the boxes with her belongings, and when she arrived at the gate of the house where her mother lived, she felt a tightness in her chest. Lucia was in the backyard, hanging clothes on the line, as she did every morning. She was a 58-year-old woman, her grey hair tied in a simple bun, her hands calloused by work, but eyes that shone with a kindness that time could never erase. "Marina," she said, turning upon hearing the gate open. "Daughter, what happened? Why are you home at this time?" Marina placed the boxes on the floor and hugged her mother, finally allowing herself to break down. The tears she had held back during that entire confrontation at the Almeida house now fell freely, wetting Lucia's shoulder as she held her daughter tightly. "Tell me, my daughter, what is it?" They sat in the small living room, with its modest but well-kept furniture, and Marina told her everything, from the humiliating dismissal to Donna Alzira's revelation about the past, from Veronica's accusations to the final confrontation. Lucia listened in silence, her eyes watery, her hands trembling slightly. When Marina finished telling the story, she asked the question that wouldn't leave her mind. "Mother, is it true? Did you know Donna Alzira?" Lucia took a deep breath, as if she were opening a door she had kept closed for decades. "It's true, Marina. I met Alzira a long time ago. It was during one of the most difficult periods of her life, and also one of the most complicated of mine." She stood up and went to the living room cabinet, from which she took an old shoebox tied with a string. She sat down again next to Marina and opened the box, revealing old photographs, cards, and some letters. "I worked at Sir Joachim's laundry near here. I earned little, but it was what I could get to support you, who were just a baby at the time. Your father had passed away shortly before you were born, and I was alone, trying to handle everything." Marina picked up a photo that showed her young mother smiling next to a woman she recognized immediately. It was Donna Alzira, decades younger, but with that same gentle look. One day Alzira came into the laundry. She was different from the other customers. It wasn't just her way of dressing, but the sadness she carried. I saw that she was suffering. So when she started crying right there at the counter, I did what my mother always taught me. I offered a coffee, a shoulder, an ear. "And you became friends?" Marina asked, fascinated. "We did. For a few months, Alzira came to visit me almost every week. We talked about everything. She told me about the difficulties she faced, about the fear of not being able to raise her son alone, about the pressure of taking over her husband's business. And I, even without having much, offered what I could. A word of support, advice, a prayer." "Why did you lose contact?" Lucia sighed. "Life happened, daughter. Alzira managed to rebuild the business, things improved for her, and she moved to another neighborhood. We tried to keep in touch, but at the time there were no cell phones, no internet. Letters took a long time, phone calls were expensive, and gradually the distance grew until we lost sight of each other." Marina felt the tears return. "And you never told me this?" Lucia took her daughter's hand. "Because it was a part of my past that stayed there. I never imagined our paths would cross again, especially in this way. When you told me you were working at the house of a family in Mangaberas, it never crossed my mind that it could be her." Marina hugged her mother again, feeling the weight of that whole story. "And now, Mother, what do I do?" Lucia pulled away a bit and looked into her daughter's eyes. "You do what your heart tells you, Marina, but remember what I always taught you. We don't work just for the money. We work for dignity, for respect, for knowing that we are making a difference. If you think you can go back to that house and continue doing your job with the same dedication, without carrying a grudge, then go back. But if you feel your trust was broken in a way that can't be fixed, then don't go back. Because dignity is not for sale, daughter. Not for a good salary, not for gratitude." Her mother's words echoed inside Marina. She spent the rest of the day at home, helping Lucia with domestic tasks, reflecting on everything that had happened. At night, lying in her old bed, looking at the ceiling she had known since childhood, Marina finally had clarity about what she needed to do. 3 days passed. 3 days during which Roberto tried to call a few times, but Marina didn't answer. Donna Alzira sent an affectionate message saying she would respect any decision, but that she missed her. And Marina needed that time. She needed to process the pain, the anger, the feeling of injustice, but she also needed to recognize something important. What had happened did not define who she was. It didn't tarnish her history. It didn't diminish her value. On the morning of the 4th day, a sunny Thursday, Marina dressed carefully, took her bag and told her mother she was leaving. Lucia just smiled, because mothers always know. Marina arrived at the Almeida house around 9 o'clock. She rang the bell and waited. It was Roberto who answered, his face marked by fatigue, his eyes carrying the weight of the last few days. "Marina," he said, surprised and visibly moved. "Good morning, Sir Roberto, may I come in?" He opened the gate immediately, almost tripping over his words. Of course, please." They walked to the living room, where Donna Alzira was sitting in her armchair reading the newspaper. When she saw Marina, she stood up with difficulty, leaning on her cane, and her eyes filled with tears. "You came back," she said, her voice trembling. "I came back," Marina replied, "but I need some things to be clear." Roberto and Donna Alzira nodded attentively. "I am not coming back because I need the job, although I do. I am not coming back because I feel sorry for Donna Alzira, although I care deeply for her. I am coming back because I learned that my dignity does not depend on how others see me, but on how I see myself. And I see myself as someone who does her work with honor, who cares with love, and who is not going to let one person's malice destroy something that was good and true." Donna Alzira walked to her and held her hands. "You are strong, Marina, stronger than you imagine." Marina smiled, still holding the lady's hands. "But I also need Sir Roberto to understand that trust is not rebuilt overnight. It will take time, and I will need time to feel comfortable here again." Roberto nodded sincerely. "I understand, and I will do everything in my power to repair the mistake I made. Veronica no longer lives here. We are separating, and I take full responsibility for what happened. I'm not just going to blame her. I also failed." Roberto's words were sincere, and Marina realized he had truly changed. The whole situation had forced him to see things about himself that he perhaps had never seen. Marina began working at the house again, but it was different now. There was a greater awareness from everyone involved. Roberto made a point of showing respect, never questioning her decisions, always asking if she was comfortable. Donna Alzira, for her part, not only thanked her for the care, but shared more stories about the past, about Lucia, about the bonds that destiny had woven between the two families. And Marina, as the weeks passed, realized she was healing. The wound of injustice still hurt, but it was scarring. She had learned something valuable, that forgiving does not mean forgetting, but it means not letting the pain of the past control the present. A month later, on a Sunday afternoon, Lucia visited the Almeida house for the first time in decades. It was an emotional moment, full of hugs, tears, and memories. The two friends, separated for so many years, finally reunited. And Marina, watching that meeting, understood that everything had a purpose. Even the pain, even the injustice, everything had led to that moment of reunion and healing. Roberto, seeing the scene, realized how blind he had been. blind to Veronica's manipulations, blind to the value of the people around him, blind to what really mattered. But now he was learning to see, and part of that learning was understanding that trust is built with actions, not just words. Marina continued working at the Almeida house, but now with a different awareness. She wasn't just an employee, she was part of a larger story, a story that connected 2 generations, 2 families, 2 hearts that had found each other in the middle of chaos. And when, at the end of each day, she crossed the garden and passed through the gate, looking back and seeing Donna Alzira wave from the window, Marina knew she had made the right choice, not because it was easy, but because it was dignified. Because in the end, it wasn't just about getting a job back. It was about recovering faith in human kindness, in the justice that eventually prevails, and in the strength that exists in keeping one's head held high even when everything seems to conspire against you. And Marina came out of that experience not as a victim, but as a victor. Victorious over lies, over manipulation, over injustice. Victorious because she chose dignity above all else. And that victory, no one could ever take from her. Dear listeners, we hope that Marina's story, Donna Alzira, and all the twists and turns of this journey have deeply touched your heart. If you were moved by Marina's strength in the face of injustice, by Donna Alzira's unconditional love, and by the redemption that comes when we choose the truth, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments which moment marked you the most. Was it the revelation of the past, the final confrontation, Marina's decision to return with dignity? We want to know what you felt. Every day we bring intense stories like this one, which reveal the deepest side of the human soul, which show that dignity always